Agnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Gurudev, good morning. So, today I took a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 6, verse 46. Tvayopabhukta sraghanda vaso lankara charchita yudhishta bhujinoda sastava mayam jayemahi. And the meaning is, by adorning ourselves with garlands, sandalwood paste, dress, and ornaments used by you, and by eating the remnants of your food, we, your servants, will certainly conquer over your Maya. So the way this verse is coming here in this temple, the way this verse came to me, is because, as you might know, we just came back from India. And I had the grace to be with Guruji in India, in Vrindavan, and then in Puri. And when Guruji is in Vrindavan, he's having food most of the time in the ashram, and Satyanarayan's Babaji is coming to eat with Guruji because they are great friends. And before eating, as you know, you pray, and we chant our prayer, so the one that we do. But at the end of our prayer, this verse was chanted by Satyanarayandas. And as we didn't know the verse, we were always silent, so we were doing our normal food prayer all together, so many voices, and then Babaji was chanting alone. And after this was doing another mantra that we knew, so we had just a hall that was this verse. And after a few days, I think 2, Guruji said, you know guys, we should know this verse, so we can chant with him, he would be happy. But when Babaji is chanting publicly, it's very loud and clear and he's singing, but when he's chanting during the food prayer, he's very silent. And you can't hear what he's chanting. So we had a problem because we couldn't figure it out which verse was, from where was it coming from, or whatever he was doing in that few seconds was completely unknown to us. But then one of Babaji's disciples, somebody that is studying with him in the institute, is coming from my same town and is Italian. It's Kamala. So Kamala was there, and I said, you know, Kamala, by chance, you know the food prayer? And she said, yeah, maybe. Maybe I know it. Maybe I can find the text. Maybe I can find in our guideline where it is. So, lucky enough, she comes back with the book. And she gives us the whole book with all the rules and the prayers. So we find out which is the prayer. And it's me and Swami Ravatikanta. And we say, you know what, we should learn it by heart. So we don't even read. It would be even more happy. And Guruji also, maybe. So, but we didn't know. We're just like, it's nice. Anyway, it's a verse from the Bhagavatam that is not bad to know by heart. So I'm just, for 2 hours, I'm just there. I'm just keep on chanting. And then we read the translation, and I didn't really understand the translation at all because I was too focused on remembering it by heart. So I was way more focused on Sanskrit and just chanting something because I wanted to know it by heart more than understanding what I was actually chanting. But I put aside the verse for now because what I want to tell you today is that when you're in Vrindavan or when you're in India, is different than being here in Germany. Because, you know, if you're walking down, we have an office down in the village, and when I walk down, if somebody who lives in the village stops me, or a normal German person stops me, in Rewe or when I go to buy something outside, and he's asking me, oh, what do you have on your forehead? Like, what is it, and why are you dressed like this? The way I answer is like, oh, you know, these are the feet of Narayana, and this is, you know, the tools to live, this is devotion, and I explain very briefly what it means. But I think it's very rare that somebody says, oh, and what's your lineage? Oh, really? And who's the founder? Oh, really? But are you sure that the tilak is shaped like this? Because I don't think it is. So in German, it's very difficult. But in India, especially in Vrindavan, because ISKCON is very well spread there. So there are many ISKCON people, and amongst all the traditions, they're the ones who, like, they demand more knowledge from you. So they expect you to know a lot of things. And one day we were on the street, sitting on the rickshaw, we are waiting for something. And it's me, Swami Revati, Lakshmi Ramandas, and Swami Parantapa. And as you know, Swami Parantapa has a very big and visible tattoo on his forehead, and like Radhe Radhe written here. And it's an amazing tilak, I'm not. And so this guy approaches us, and he just comes there and says, hey, hi, so can I ask you something? And we say, yeah. So what's your lineage? So what's your sampradaya? And we say, Shri Sampradaya. He says, oh, why do you have a tilak like this? I said, because it's our tilak. I said, so it says, Guruji was also there, so he says, so you are Shri Sampradaya? He says, yes. And then he points to us, to me and Swami Ravatikanta, because Guruji and Lakshmi Ramandas had a black tilak, color in black. And we had white. And we all had kind of different shapes, because if you look around you, you will see that we are not really good in having the same tilak. We don't really want to have the same tilak, looks like. So looks at Guruji and says, oh, you're Shri Sampradaya? And he says, yes. And then looks at me and Swami Vatikanta and he says, oh, and what are they? I would say, Shri Sampradaya. He says, oh, the same. I say, yes. And then looks at Swami Parantapa. Says, what is he? And he's like, Shri Sampradaya. And the guy's very confused. He's very, very confused. Says, so you're all Shri Sampradaya? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I would like to know more about you guys. And Guruji said, it's okay, there is a lecture today in the afternoon. Just come to our ashram and you can talk with Swami Vatikanta. He will explain you everything. I don't think the guy came. I don't remember the guy coming. But this is a good example, because when you're there, I always use this term for Guruji, and I think it's completely invented because it's not an English word, but is the humbleizer. So he makes people humble, no? Humbleizer. There's the equalizer, there are many izers, and I created my own humbleizer. And, you know, he brought me to Vrindavan, so I had for sure to learn many things. And when I was there, and I was reading about the story of Chaitanya, story of all that was regarding Mahaprabhu's incarnation, and I was reading about the Goswamis, and, you know, when Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami have been sent to Vrindavan, they compiled most of the philosophic part of their lineage, of their tradition, and they did a lot. Their dedication and what they did was incredible, because they focused only on that. And when you take somebody like Babaji, like Satyanarayan does, you can see that he lives for this knowledge. That's what he talks about, that's what he studies, that's what he's doing all the time. He talks about that. It's just only what he's doing, that's his attitude. He's so disciplined, and he's such a great person and he's so knowledgeable. And especially if you're around Guruji, you all know whatever kind of saint you mention, Guruji knows it. Wherever he is, whatever tradition you're talking about, Guruji knows the story of the saint. He knows what he did. He knows how dedicated he was. And that's what he loves the most. Many times it happened, he called me up during the night, and I was going up, and he was sitting reading stories of saints. And I was sleeping in the meantime. So you see, like, the dedication of these people is incredible. So when you're there, you realize, and you're humbleized in that sense. That's why I say humble, because you're there, and and then you have to come here and you have to talk. Or maybe Guruji tells you, like, go to this person and explain this mantra or explain these things. But if you compare yourself to these people, you realize that your qualification is zero. I gave Understanding Vaishnavism yesterday as a lecture for 3 hours. But if I compare myself with them, my preparation is zero and my capacities also. And like, I had no place compared to them. And even taking this mic right now, if I come here with an attitude of teaching, taking this mic and talking to you, I am zero qualified to do it. Because most of you are older than me even. So from what point of view am I, and I didn't study for all my life at all. So in that sense, I say I'm zero qualified. But then, I was meditating on this, and for sure there was something to learn, because otherwise Guruji would not give us this possibility. Guruji would not put us in this position. So I was just meditating on it, and I remember that 2 years ago, Guruji gave a satsang. And he talked about Rishi Bharadwaj. And Rishi Bharadwaj was in the cave, and he wanted to learn the Vedas. And so he sat in the cave, but he said, you know what? 100 human years are not enough for me. They're not enough for me to learn the Vedas. So what he does is he's doing penance to Indra. And Indra is very pleased. And he comes down and he says, I'm very pleased by your penance. So tell me, what do you want? And Bharadwaj says, I want to learn the Vedas. Can you please give me 100 more years? And Indra said, okay. But then when these 100 extra years of Bharadwaj are coming to the end, he realizes he's not even close to the end, so he's doing penance again. And Indra comes and he says, what do you want? And he says, can I have 100 more years? And Indra says, okay. And this happens again for another 5 times. Until at the 6th, Indra wants to teach a lesson to Bharadwaj. So what he does, he comes down and he summons 3 mountains in front of him. And Bharadwaj is very proud of it, and he says, wow, look. Lord Indra is showing me what I learned for sure. These 3 mountains are all the knowledge that I learned in these 700 years. And Indra is not answering to this. He just goes to all the 3 mountains and he takes some of the terrain, some of the sand of the mountain. It goes back to him and he says, if these 3 mountains are the Vedas, this is what you learned in all these years. This handful of sand. And Bharadwaj is like, okay, then I'm lost. So what can I do? Can you help him? And he says, the only one who really knows the Vedas is Narayana, because he's the ultimate. And what's the purpose? Because at the end, it's all about, like, what's your purpose? What's your attitude when you do something? And if your attitude in learning something, in learning the Vedas and all these things is just because you want to know, just to gain something, you're always again in a game of ego and being proud and all these things from the mind. So he looks at him and he says, so tell me what's your aim? What's your purpose? Like, what's your purpose in life? He should be your purpose. Just focus on him. And when you focus on him, he will reveal himself and give you all the knowledge that you need. So what Rishi Bharadwaj does is just, he stops to read and he puts aside the Vedas and he said, okay, I will focus on him. And after a while, Narayana is pleased with him and he appears to him in the form of Narasimha, half lion and half man. And he grants him everything and he brings him with him in Vaikuntha. So meditating on this, I said, okay, then it's not about the knowledge. I can do and I can take this mic, not because I'm here to give you knowledge in that strict sense, and not for you to gain knowledge in that sense. And don't get me wrong, knowledge is very important, and that's why Guruji is stressing so much to do all these courses, because they're very important to feed your mind in the right way. But when I take this mic and I'm zero qualified, in that sense, in the knowledge sense, there are two things that are qualifying me. And the first one is out of me, because it's His grace. That's what He wants me to do. So this is not on me. That's what He wants me to do. And whoever is coming here to talk is qualified in that sense. And in a wider sense, He qualified all of us whenever you take a mic or whenever you talk with somebody and you're sharing your experience. Because the experience is the second point. Because what is qualifying all of us to share something and to give something to the others is the experience He gives us. Because He's the master of experience. So the way He's teaching us and the way we can give something to the others and we can actually make a difference for them is just sharing our experiences that is given to us. And that's what qualifies us. And it is an absolute game changer in that sense, because any of us is having an experience that is given. Doesn't mean that you have to be close to Him. Doesn't mean that you have to eat with Him or be in the same rickshaw, because this is one kind of experience, because you can have a dream with Him. And He can just look at you, and it's already an experience, because what you live is the real experience. It's not what is happening outside, because always, or many times we think that the real experience is like doing great things with Him physically, but this is not the point. And when I see, and it's really a great thing that I can see in Swami Parantapa. Swami Parantapa is not always with Guruji. If you see, when he comes here, he is with Guruji and he's very close, but like for 1 week. Then he goes back. And when he goes back, yeah, before leaving, you can see that he's not sad, but you can see that he's going to miss Guruji in that sense, in the physical sense of being close to him. But you can clearly see in his eyes, and he's so stable, knowing that Guruji is inside him, and whatever is going to leave is because of Guruji's grace, and all the experiences are filtered through Guruji. And he's so clear in Swami Parantapa that's why when I look at him, he's so stable. And I love when he's talking and he closes his eyes and he goes in his own library in the mind, and he finds all the experiences, and he's completely, that's the feeling that he gives me between him and Guruji. He just goes back in that feeling. He's not searching for books. He's not searching for like the greatest piece of knowledge to give. And it's not knowledge for the sake of knowledge. It's knowledge for the sake of understanding better Guruji. And so the greatness of the verse that I just told you is that if you go from the back, the end of the verse is, we, your servants, will certainly conquer over your Maya. So and before he's talking about like adorning ourselves with like sandalwood paste and clothes worn by him, and taking and eating his remnants of food. So it tells us, yeah, Maya is there, illusion is there, but the tool that we have are his Prasad. An experience, whatever you have between you and your Murti, whatever you have between you and your Ishtadev, whatever Guruji gives you as experience is Prasad. Whatever he gives you is Prasad. Whoever was here during Navaratri, and I shared my experience when he cut my hair. And one of the most important sentences that he told me was like, whatever I tell you is Prasad. And during these 3 weeks in India, what was coming out, especially in Vrindavan, was that he was telling me something, but that I was thinking. And I was saying, yeah, but maybe I should do it like this because he will be more happy. Until one day, after almost the end of the pilgrimage in Vrindavan, he looks at me and he says, whatever I tell you, just shut up and do it. Because actually, he never asked my opinion in that sense. He just said, do this. And that's Prasad. But it's sometimes where he's telling you, do this, but you don't like what he's telling you, it's very difficult to take it as Prasad. I really liked yesterday, for who was here, when Chida was talking. It's always nice when Guruji tells you what you want to hear, but when Guruji comes to you and he says, do this, but you don't really want to do it because you don't like it, it's more complicated. And so it goes back to attitude and goes back to the path we are going, the path we are walking, and what we all decided to follow is Bhakti Yoga. We're doing Bhakti Yoga. We do many, many yogas, but we are bhaktas. We are devotees. And what we decided to do is that what we want to do in life, the only thing matters for us is just build a loving relationship with Him. And just love Him. Because at the end, what I signed for is just to love Him. I forget about it many times because I put a lot of expectations over. But the real contract that I signed is I will love you at my best and every day more and ever growing. And it's not about expectation, and it's not even about of it tells you and it gives you to do what you like. Because it's not about this. It's about just keep on loving Him, because it's very easy to love Him when it tells you you're amazing. That it's not so often, by the way, so that you know. But when it tells you, oh, wow, great, and you're just thinking, yes, I made it. You're very happy. But then He's thrashing you for hours and hours, and He's just testing your love because you signed that you will always love Him. You didn't sign, I will love you until you show me that you're very happy with what I do and you like my service. You signed for, I will love you whatever you do. And before Puri, before starting in Puri, at the end of dinner, of course, as the embolizer, he did all this in public. He said, you know, your problem with service is that you answer to me. And I was ready to answer, Guruji is not true. Just to let you know, but I just thought and I said, okay, it's better if I shut up. So I said, your problem is that you answer to me. So that's a problem, that's what is keeping you away from, away from me, and is what is making a distance between us, and is what is gonna distance us. And I was just looking at him, and I was going in a deep, deep depression. And then I sat down with my ice cream, because they gave me ice cream. There was a positive side of the thing. So I'm sitting there with my ice cream, and I'm almost crying, but this time my crying is not because I feel hurt in my ego. I was really thinking, oh my God, like he's not pleased by my service. Like I'm not doing it in the right way. And that was a really devastating feeling. And I was like, okay, then I have to change it. And Swami Revati sees that I'm going deep and deeper and deeper inside this black hole of depression. So we go somewhere else and we talk. And he says, look, it doesn't mean that overall, like your overall wide service is bad. It just points out something before it grows more and becomes bigger. And so that you actually know what you have to correct, because it was again Prasad. Because what he told me, he said, I don't like when you do this. So it's very easy, just don't do it. But he didn't tell me. He didn't say, oh, you know, I don't like when you answer to me, so please don't answer to me. He just said, I don't like when you answer to me. But then the other part, you have to add it. And if you add it or not, depends on your attitude. Because if the attitude is like, oh, poor me, you will stay focused on, oh, he doesn't like my service. But if your attitude is, he's telling me something and he's always giving me prasad, it's like, okay, then it's very easy. Just shut up. Because that's the teaching. If I summarize the main teachings he gave me between India in April and India now, is just whatever I tell you is prasad. Whatever I tell you, just do it. Whatever I tell you, don't complain. Whatever I tell you, shut up. Whatever I tell you, just do it. That's the main teaching. Sounds so easy, but it took me a while to put it together. That's mainly what it is. That's mainly what it is, and this verse is amazing because every time you go on the prasad table, you have food that was eaten by him up in the bungalow, was offered to him. And he gave us a temple where every day we offer food. He gave us the possibility to do puja, so that we can offer our own food when we are not here to take this. So what he did with all of us is he gave us so many possibilities, and he's always so close to us, but it's so difficult to perceive it because we always need something that is physical. You always need something you can touch. He needs to be here sitting or there listening to me talking right now. There is somewhere in my brain something that is hoping that is behind the corner there listening to me. And I'm sure you also have it most of the time.
Yes, I am.
That was not prepared, huh? Whatever. Amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. Jai Gurudev.